Social distance or host resistance, you decide. And just to clarify, a disclaimer here, I am not a health professional, so watching this is just for entertainment purposes only. So keep that in mind. And that's the purpose of this video, just entertainment. This whole COVID-19 thing is really getting kind of overblown in my opinion right now. I understand the freak out that's going on, but at the same time, living in fear and trying to sanitize the earth to protect against some virus is really, we know that's not going to work. I mean, we know the importance of the microbiome, yet all these chemicals are now being sprayed on everything to clean everything, and the residuals of those chemicals have downstream detrimental effects. So what is all this going to do to our the host resistance that we harbor in our healthy bodies? And what can we do to really improve that host resistance? There's a lot we can do. And, you know, I'm not even an herbalist or anything like that. I mean, I've read a lot of books about herbalism, and I appreciate herbs and take lots of herbal supplements and other things like that. And that's what I'm going to talk about here in this video. And I'm also going to get into some of the electromagnetics, because I believe that there's a strong correlation here. If you look at the history, in 1918, the Spanish flu came right after the commercialization of radio technology, when us as humans were exposed to this new form of electromagnetic radiation all over the planet. And then all of a sudden, a lot of people got flu. And there's correlations through history. If we look at World War II, the commercialization of radar technology, another pandemic. And then even if you look at the Hong Kong flu in 1968, this was when there were satellites put into orbit that were broadcasting radiation and affecting the Van Allen belt and how it protects our environment. This is like a blanket over the earth that should be protecting us. And all these effects led to global issues. And these are electromagnetic issues. And there's something going on right now that is intensely electromagnetic to this planet that we need to stop, and that's 5G. And I've been talking a lot about that for a long time. So, you know, that you can reference some of my other videos and plenty of other videos that other people have done on that subject. So let's stop 5G. Also, one of the big factors that's being largely overlooked in terms of the electromagnetics effect is that it seems to be that the levels of metal in our body has a lot to do with the effects that we're going to get from the electromagnetic fields. Now, I personally believe that there's a lot of factors that determine who has the worst effects from exposure to, like, the densification of wireless technology, which is basically 5G. This is the effect where there's a 5G transmitter every 1 to 300 feet, right? And those are fields that we can't get away from if there's one right near our house where we're sleeping. So that's the densification of 5G. And that's what we've seen from where 5G has been fully deployed. Places like China, Wuhan specifically, places like Italy, places like South Korea. And this is why I'm such a big advocate of stopping this. So it's possible that the first people to be affected by it are the people with more metal in their body. So this can be metal implants from broken bones and that have been, you know, surgically implanted metal implants. These can be metal from dental fillings, metal from vaccines. So these are the type of metals. Heavy metal toxicity that's in our bodies seems to increase the electromagnetic effects that we get from exposure to the EM fields. So it's, you know, it's going to be more time before all of this science is fully clarified. But that seems to be one of the consistent patterns, is that the folks with more metal, and not everyone knows that they have more metal in their system. If it's metal toxicity from a vaccine, that may harbor in the body for long periods of time before it's really known, so that's why it can be important to go out and, you know, consult your health practitioner and consider getting tested for heavy metals and do heavy metal detoxes, and that's a whole nother story as far as like the types of supplements that can be important for detoxing heavy metals. But that does seem to be a consistent factor in this whole situation. But that's not the subject of this video. Well, how do we boost our immune system? Of course, that's what everyone wants to do, and a lot of the various products, some of which I'm going to show you here in this video, are probably sold out at your local health food stores or herbal shops. But some of them you'll be able to find similar ones and make some of your own and different things like that. And a lot of this is kind of general too. But firstly, since I mentioned the electromagnetics, I like to emphasize the importance of minerals. I believe minerals are really important for maintaining a healthy immune system and just healthy overall system in general, and a healthy response to the electromagnetic stimulus that we're getting. And the most important one, I believe, and a lot of others people believe, is magnesium. And that's why we promote this product, which is a liquid magnesium concentrate. It's actually a magnesium bicarbonate concentrate, and we have it on healthharmonic.com. So you can check out healthharmonic.com and just search magnesium and you'll find it. And that's this is like really the most absorbed form of magnesium that you can get, is magnesium bicarbonate, and it's a liquid concentrate. This bottle's empty, but because I take it a lot. And the other mineral that I take a ton of is this organic sulfur form of MSM, which is also really important for connective tissue and so many things in the body. Incidentally, though, back to the magnesium, since I mentioned electromagnetics, magnesium actually is a really important one as far as the downstream effects of electromagnetics. So when we have proper stores of magnesium throughout our tissues, we're going to have less response. According to things that I've read, we're going to have less response to the electromagnetic effects that we're exposed to. And this is important in this new era of 5G as we're exposed to more and more things like that. So boost up your magnesium stores by taking a better form of magnesium, more absorbable form of magnesium, such as the one that we have on Health Harmonic. That's a really important factor. I mean, there's plenty of forms of magnesium that you can get, and each of them is going to have different bioavailability. But what you want is long-term oral bioavailability. Some of the other forms, like, you know, they promote spraying it on your skin and rubbing it into your skin, and that's great, you know, especially for specific areas that you want to apply it to, where you've got muscle issues or different musculoskeletal problems going on. But if you want true systemic absorption at the best level that you can, I believe that the magnesium bicarbonate, not magnesium carbonate. Magnesium carbonate is very poorly absorbed, but the magnesium bicarbonate is the way to go. So moving on to trace minerals. Now, our magnesium liquid concentrate also has over 80 different trace minerals in it, and those are great. The trace minerals like that are important to have, but selenium is also a trace mineral that's often overlooked or under supplemented in various multis and things. There usually is not quite enough of it in there. It's a really important trace mineral for the immune function, and there's something like 30 or more different enzymes that require a certain level of selenium, blood plasma levels of selenium in your blood in order to form the enzymes that are used in various immune functions. And Dr. Gerhard Schrauzer I'm pretty sure he's still alive, is the researcher who did a ton of research on connection between low levels of selenium in soils and thus in produce and in people, based on certain proximity to the crops that were grown in the soils that were low in selenium, and then low levels of selenium in the populations that had higher levels of cancer. And he, in his research, recommended 350 micrograms of selenium per day. Most multis have like 50 to 100 micrograms of selenium. So selenium is a really important one, and it's cheap. You can get it like, a bottle of this was like $10 for 100 capsules. And I personally take 2 of these just about every day. I don't take it every day. I mean, we do store a certain amount of selenium in our bodies. But this one, these are 200 micrograms each, so I take 2 of them. So that's a little bit more than the Dr. Gerhard Schrauzer's recommendation of 350. But they're usually about 100 to 200 per tablet or capsule, depending on the product. I particularly like the yeast-bound selenium. A lot of people are afraid of yeasts, but this is where the selenium is grown on a brewer's yeast, and it makes it more of a bioavailable form. There's some other forms as well, but there's been clinical studies showing that this form of selenium-bound yeast does not proliferate candida or any of the nasty forms of yeast that people are avoiding. So that's an very important trace mineral. Selenium, really important for the immune function. And moving on to another one of my favorite products for boosting the immune system and overall just immune function is, I really like this Super Immune, which is from Quantum Health, because it's got L-lysine and astragalus and olive leaf extract. And the L-lysine is a really important one because it crosses over both in immune function and in electromagnetic protection. So that's a really important one for no matter what's going on with this current issue with the COVID-19 coronavirus. The L-lysine is going to be protective whether it's an electromagnetic effect because you're being exposed to more EM effects from 5G, smart meters, just cell towers nearby, whatever the factor might be. The L-lysine and the magnesium are both going to be protecting from the downstream effects of electromagnetics. And moving on, let's talk about some of these propolis products. I've always been I don't know, maybe not as a small child, but for a long time I've really appreciated propolis, which is technically it's a bee product. So if you're allergic to honey and bee pollen and things like that, you don't want to use propolis. But propolis, technically, what it is it's bee gathered tree resins. So the bees gather the propolis from the trees and use it to seal the hives to avoid infection from whatever they might get infected from, and so propolis is like a dark resin that is technically from trees, but the bees are the ones that gather it. And this is a product from Honey Gardens. It's the Honey Gardens propolis spray, and it's a great little pocket immune booster. You can just spray it and it I mean, I don't know if they can tell you this, but I'm not selling it. So it affects your sublingual. It's like absorbed sublingually under your tongue. So it has some pretty quick effects in that way. And this is another similar product, a little less potent, but really, really nice and tasty. It's called Honey Propolis Throat Spray from Mickleberry Gardens. Like I said, some of this stuff is kind of local. This is a Pacific Northwest product with honey, apple cider vinegar, rose hips, echinacea, sage leaf, and bee propolis. It's another great product. I have like some real basic propolis tincture here as well. It's a really strong tincture from the Pollen Man in Portland. It's another really powerful immune booster. It's pretty sticky though when it's super potent and alcohol extract like that. I find that if I drop it in the back of my throat so that it doesn't get all over my teeth, then that's better on the teeth, because it can get really sticky and your dentist won't like it, or at least your hygienist won't like it if you come in with resin all over your teeth. And let's see, what else can I talk about? Speaking of sprays, this is a phenomenal product, real popular product called Singer's Saving Grace. This is the alcohol-free professional strength, and it's got some wild herbs in it. It's got yerba mansa, stone root, licorice root, jack the pulpit, osha, echinacea, ginger, and it's a glycerate, so there's no alcohol in it, and it's an amazing product. Highly recommended. Really good for just vocal integrity of your voice. It's obviously why they call it Singer's Saving Grace. We've got a couple other Mickleberry Gardens products: Throat and Lung, Honey Tonic. Some similar stuff as what's in the spray, but this one's got mullein leaf, wild cherry bark, stinging nettle, rose hips, echinacea. There's so many herbal products out there, and if you have trouble finding some of these products, I mean, you can find similar stuff that might be made locally where you are, This one is pretty similar, but it's this is actually an elderberry, so it's black elderberry fruit, echinacea. Actually, this is a simpler one, but also has bee propolis. Some of these elderberry tonics are great for the throat and the lungs, so definitely highly recommend those. And to go along with, I mentioned selenium. The iodine is really important for balancing out levels of selenium. So, consult your local health practitioner by Skype or however they're doing it these days, and discuss this kind of stuff with a professional. But it can be a good idea to also take the iodine, or make sure you're getting enough in various seaweed type of supplementation. I've got like a kelp, organic kelp product here, which is seasoning, but it's a good source of iodine as well. So moving on, this is an interesting product that I've always really liked. These ume plum balls. It's a fermented product which is from the ume plum. So it's just a very specific plum that's fermented in this traditional way in Japan. And this product is just like a dried form of it. And it's a really good balancing immune, kind of an adaptogenic type of fermented product that stores really well. I don't know if you can tell from the video, but this has been around for a while. The label's kind of worn down. And then there's this is a professional product that, that's just sold by health practitioners. It's got a lot of the basics for immune boosting, function, like vitamin A, and vitamin C, which, of course I can't make this video without my standard go-to for vitamin C is personally acerola powder. I really love this form of vitamin C. It's a natural form of vitamin C that is, I find, more absorbable, more bioavailable. There's different opinions on that, whether ascorbic acid is just as effective as this. I personally prefer to take a natural substance that is from a plant that's very concentrated in vitamin C, even if it's a powder like this. This is from Wilson Naturals. This is not necessarily like my favorite brand of acerola powder. The acerola is just a type of cherry, mostly from Brazil, which is ground into a powder and dried. And I've just been a big fan of acerola powders for a long time. And a lot of that stuff's getting harder to get because everyone's like trying to hoard it all or whatever. I don't know. But things will calm down with all this stuff. I believe we'll see how things play out, but I think things will calm down, and a lot of this kind of stuff will come back into availability. So moving on, of course, I'm in Oregon. I gotta promote the Oregon grapefruit. This is you're gonna find Oregon grapefruit in a lot of different formulas too. So it's not something you necessarily have to take on its own. Although on its own, it's a very powerful product. I mean, there's plenty of herbs that I'm not getting to. This is not meant to be an all-inclusive type of video here to cover everything. I just wanted to show you some of the things that I personally do on a daily or somewhat daily basis to help keep my immune system strong. And another thing I wanted to get to is right here, I've got some chaga. And chaga is becoming a real popular thing right now, and for a lot of good reasons. This is some wild-crafted chaga mushroom from up in Alaska that a good friend of mine harvests and wildcrafts. And I might have some of this available on the website at some point in the near future. I'll be playing around with doing some of my own extracts, and you can also make a tea out of this. So there's a lot of different ways of consuming it, but it's definitely becoming a very popular immune modulator, immune boosting kind of supplement, so that's the chaga. Oh, of course, zinc. There's a lot of different forms of zinc, and like I said, I'm not trying to make this an all-inclusive type of video, but and I'm not really promoting any of these specific products. I guess I kind of passively am, but this one is BioZinc from Solar Ray. It's got a few different forms of zinc, so it's got kind of a good mix of bioavailability. But zinc is a really important mineral for immune function. So don't forget the zinc. And you know, and I'm also pretty into, this is a humic and fulvic acid, which is this is a local product that you probably won't find out there, but a really important mineral complex for immune function and for just basic maintenance of health. You know, of course, minerals just in general are super important for that. With all these herbs and supplements here, one of my favorites, which is I didn't have on the table, but I've got a bottle here because I make a ton of this stuff, which is ionic silver. And silver is known to be effective against tons of microbial pathogens. So that's one of the reasons that I make a lot of it. And when making it, it's really important to start with the purest water. You want it really down to the lowest ppm that you can in order to get just the silver ions in there. And then it gets a little deceptive, in my opinion, about the ppms of silver. You see a lot of companies promoting like 20, 30, or 100 ppms. The number of ppms is not really necessarily the most important thing. In fact, it's, in my opinion, the size and the ion charge of the ions in there is the most important. So we want the smallest and the best charge on the silver. The higher the ppms, the more the ions of silver agglomerate together and form bigger particles, which is really not as effective as far as I'm concerned. And that's why I make a nano ionized silver, and it's in the range of 5 to 10 parts per million of silver, and I find it to be more effective than a lot of the 20 or 30 ppm products that I've tested out there. So that's the ionic silver. You know, there's plenty of ways to make it yourself. Like I said, if you make it yourself, just make sure you start with the best quality water, and then build from there, or you know, look for some of the commercially available products. I don't promote that on the website healthharmonic.com. We don't sell ionic silver at this point, but yeah, it's very, very important thing to to use as far as I'm concerned. My friend Kay also was just sharing with me kind of a home remedy of sorts, which I wanted to also share with you, which is real simple, and it's something that you know, you can get these things. And I didn't have any fresh turmeric, but I've got this local ground turmeric from Red Ape, which is a great company out of here in Eugene, Oregon. But just make a tea out of garlic, ginger, and turmeric. And he was saying that, you know, ideally you want to fast for 24 hours and do a kind of a cleanse on this tea. But apparently very antiviral and very simple, readily available. So, you know, good thing to try as well. But mostly, don't, you know, like, I think it's important to get away from this fear-based mindset, because, you know, there's a lot of evidence that just being in this fear mode is going to affect our hormone levels and thereby disrupt our immune function. So, something to think about. One other thing, this is a bonus for you. This kind of, to me, this one puts it all together. This is called Epicor, and it's like super cheap. You can get it pretty much anywhere. There's a bunch of different brands of it. Maybe at some point I'll have my own brand of it. But Epicor, it has, I don't know, something like 30 or 40 different clinical studies on its efficacy, and it just goes in so many different directions, but it's really important for gut health. And I swear by this stuff. It's just super easy, super cheap, and it really helps keep the gut functioning the way it should. And like I said, it's cheap. It's a no-brainer. So yeah, that's Epicor. And you know, if you, like I was saying, if you can't find some of these specific products where you are, then, you know, find a book like this. This is called Naturopathic Handbook of Herbal Formulas, and, you know, just check this out. I mean, this thing's got all these different formulas. It's got this compounded astragalus formula, which has astragalus, schizandra berry, Chinese ligustrum berry, you know, it's got like dozens of formulas, and it tells all about the just different blends of herbs that you can put in and make your own tinctures. It's not very hard to make your own tinctures. You know, you can just get ethanol, or go to the liquor store, or get some good, clean, organic vodka if you can. Here we have good access to that kind of stuff. Whatever level you want to take it, you can go all the way with like organic vodka, or various types of organic grain alcohol or something like that, or you can just get some vodka. You know, it doesn't have to be anything super exotic, and just get the herbs and put them in alcohol, and some of them are going to be an alcohol water combination, and let it sit for a while, and then pour it off, and you've got your own homemade herbal tincture. And, you know, there's a little more to it than that. Obviously, I'm not showing you how to do that, but there's plenty of videos on YouTube that you can watch on that subject and get all the information that you need. So strengthen your immune function. And, you know, at this point in time, like within this age of social media, and our youth is suffering already from social detachment. So when this whole thing started with social distancing, it really concerns me because we're already plagued by social problems anyway. So adding the whole social distancing thing seems a little crazy, and personally, my opinion is that it's unwarranted. Everyone's got a different opinion on that, and I'm not here to tell you what your opinion is, but it concerns me, and I think we need to focus more on strengthening our immune system and our immune function, and understanding how these electromagnetic effects are going to affect us, and not getting drawn in by the mainstream media and all the fear factors that are going on, because being in that fear mode is only going to compromise our immune function and our epigenetic disposition of how the future plays out, and how our strength plays out as well, and that's why, I'm so persistent with this electromagnetic issue, and I've done other videos showing the effects of these 7.83 Hz energetic bracelets, which I'm encouraging people to try out, and I've got 90-day satisfaction guarantee on that, because I want people to try it and test them themselves. Look at the effects that you're getting from the electromagnetics, even though you're not even seeing it. This is an invisible poison that is all around us, and there are things that we can do. So thank you for watching this video. Check me out at healthharmonic.com and look at the solutions that we've got, and yeah, share and like and comment and all that kind of stuff if you've found this video at all helpful. And thanks again for watching. I'll see you next time.